Today we'll compare two visions of EPA's budget, and the difference between them could not be more stark. The President's budget is fiscally responsible, yet gives the agency the resources it needs to protect public health and the environment. The Republican budget would decimate the agency and its public health mission. A common perception is that energy and environmental issues are more regional than partisan, and for most of my career that's been true. But that is no longer true today. The Republican Party in Congress has become the anti-environment party. There's no more telling proof than H.R. 1, the Republican budget proposal. During the debates we've had in this committee on clean air in 1990, when we did our revisions, we had Republicans who were clearly pro-environmental. President George H.W. Bush, representatives like Sherry Boehlert, John Chafee were close allies and true environmental champions. And ultimately, after difficult compromises, our regional bipartisan coalitions were able to rally around a bill that passed the House 401 to 25 and the Senate 89 to 10. But this kind of bipartisanship seems impossible today. Republicans in this Congress have an anti-environmental agenda, and as of yesterday's markup of the Upton-Inhofe bill demonstrates, they also have an anti-science agenda. It is a Republican mantra that they're pursuing the will of the people, but that's not what they're doing. Their anti-science, anti-environmental agenda may be the will of the Coke industries, but it is not what American families want. Americans know that their families' health and quality of life depend on a clean environment. They know we need a strong EPA to stop oil companies and power companies from poisoning our air and water. They know we need a strong EPA to keep toxic chemicals out of our food supply and away from our children. But instead of giving EPA the resources the agency needs, Republicans are using the budget process to handcuff the agency. The Republican budget is the most sweeping and reckless assault on health and the environment that we have seen in decades. This bill slashed EPA's funding by almost a third, denying the agency the resources it needs to carry out the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, the Safe Drinking Water Act, the Food Quality Protection Act, and the Toxic Substances Control Act. Writers in H.R. 1 blocked EPA from regulating toxic emissions from cement plants. They defund EPA's effort to reduce dangerous carbon emissions. They sought to prevent EPA from protecting water quality in thousands of streams and wetlands, threatening drinking water supplies for millions of Americans. I'm glad we have Administrator Jackson here today. I look forward to her testimony. She will explain what the implications of the Republican budget would be on her agency. I know it's awkward because we're going to hear from her after we've already voted on the House floor for some of these very, very damaging cuts and unthought through writers. But I hope members will listen. In the weeks ahead, we have time to change course and work together to give EPA the resources it needs to protect public health and the environment. So I'd like to yield the balance of my time to Mr. Rush.